Digital wallpaper designer Christopher Pearson is facing the biggest challenge of his fledgling career.
Sort of showing what it would be
His
like.
first ever commission is to deck out one of London's most exclusive restaurants. But the job is 70 times bigger than anything he's ever done before.
It's not going to work.
And he's got just 6 weeks to do it.
It jumps on the outside screen. Well, this is the Royal College of Art show for an MA degree. And what we did was, I don't know if you can see, it's a oblong shape. And what I did was I kind of cut a hole in the wall and projected it as sort of a strip of wallpaper. And that was the showpiece.
Scanning traditional wallpaper and then projecting an animated version of it may have been a simple idea, but at least one visitor to Christopher's degree show was amazed by the results.
It was so radical in a way, like doing research about historical, traditional British wallpaper, scan this wallpaper, and then with the new technologies, making some illusions, playing with this idea of video wallpaper as well. So I was quite excited when I saw this work.
And as the curator for Europe's most expensive restaurant, Alessandro didn't want one strip of Christopher's digital wallpaper, but an entire room of it, an area 70 times larger than his degree showpiece. But animating each piece of wallpaper is incredibly complex and time-consuming.
Just to make up this little bit here, each one's on a separate pivot, so it goes. There's like 50, 60, there's 150 layers. Just all a separate leaf. Quite bonkers.
And whilst Christopher took nearly 6 months to create the William Morris design for his degree, this time he's got just 6 weeks. Apparently undaunted by the tight schedule, Christopher heads off to London's Jeffrey Museum. He's hoping that the stunning displays of period wallpapers will provide the inspiration for his new design.
I was thinking when I saw this that I could maybe apply it to the wallpaper, because I've already got these columns that I could do with the plans I have.
With nowhere to work, Christopher sets up a makeshift studio at his parents' flat. His brother's old bedroom may not be the most glamorous of locations, but 3 weeks into the project, it's already looking as if the bed might come in handy for those late-night sessions.
I might have been overambitious, but I wouldn't have done it any other way. And if I have bitten off more than I can chew, I'll just have to work really hard at the end. And it's not like I'm not used to working whole nights through before an exhibition. It's it's part of the job, I suppose. The first transition's like one which goes...
Despite his own reservations, Christopher decides to press on with his new designs, and with just 2 weeks to go, arranges to meet Alessandro to get some feedback on his new ideas and test them out in the restaurant.
So you play with the illusion that it's a wall, with a wallpaper.
And this could potentially, if I can get it right, make it work for the current installation, even if it's into it, but I'll see.
We can test it.
If we test it next door and see how it looks.
But it's really nice on the screen.
Yeah, because it's just that thing of you'd almost feel like, because in that room it's quite dark.
Unfortunately, a double booking means he can't get into the restaurant to do any test projections.
I can animate the lines quite easily. I wanted to come away today knowing exactly what I was going to do, because I've got 2 weeks to do it, whereas now I've got 1 week to ponder whether I'm going to do it, and then another week to do it all. So it's a bit awkward. I could just take a risk and go for it and see what happens. But I just have to, I'm kind of just thinking about that now. So.
With a week to go and still unable to test his new ideas, time is catching up with Christopher, and he's had to dramatically scale down his plans.
And if I was to do a new print, I wouldn't have had the time to do it. So I've kind of worked with what I've got, and I've focused on trying to use the space more interestingly than basically focusing on doing a whole new design. So I've had to take the original print, the William Morris, and I've just tweaked around with the colours a little bit so it's on a black background, makes it look a lot more contemporary.
Still determined to make the most of this commission, he's working 18-hour days to try and create as many new animations for the William Morris wallpaper as he can in the limited time left. But it's not all bad news.
Joel, are you coming back in a second, or are you?
I'm going to be with you in 1 minute.
Okay, mate, I'll see you in a sec.
After weeks of waiting, at last he gets a chance to get into the restaurant and find out what his wallpaper might look like when it's projected on the 12 screens installed around the room.
Yeah, it's perfect. That white line won't be there at all, so it's great. And then I can cover the rest of them, and then I'm going to offset things as well. So I've worked out how to do. I feel better now that I know that it's going to work. It's just a matter of. It's much easier when you've got to deal with the fine details rather than like, oh, that bit's just not going to work, redo it. It's much nicer now because it's like Joel's saying, you know, you can turn down the brightness here and it'll be fine and all that sort of stuff.
Whilst the image might look good, back at home the complexity of synchronizing 12 projectors is causing an enormous headache, and the late nights of the previous week are beginning to catch up with him.
There's always that, you know, there's always a thing that it might not work in the space, it might be too bright, the leaves might be too big, it might judder, it might look really gory, you don't really know. I mean, I think it would be okay, but you just can't tell until you've seen it in the space, which is giving me a little bit of butterflies of thinking about it, you know, for the time.
It's the Monday his show was supposed to start, and a tired Christopher arrives at the restaurant to begin transferring his animation files onto their computer. But he's already had to cancel the party and delay his opening until Wednesday.
I was meant to get it into Joel Friday-ish, but I had problems with the machines that I was transferring on, because I was hopeful that maybe we might be able to do it today, but I kind of knew that there wasn't enough time to transfer it and get everything done. So it's fine. It's just that I'm really on the edge now, because it's just like it's been going on for weeks. I haven't really left my room much, and I'm just a bit. Now I'm sitting in a room with air conditioning and machines going, and I just want to get it done.
With the restaurant fully booked for the rest of the week, missing the deadline and cancelling the party means Christopher has lost out on the chance of some good publicity.
I've got frame duration for the length and time come when they start, and so that I know they all match. Okay, let's save. Oh, yours.
Okay.
So you need this one first, don't you?
Yeah, well, just try.
With his part of the job seemingly done, Christopher heads off for a well-earned rest, leaving Sketch's audio-visual manager, Joel, to do the final checks and tests. It's Christopher's opening night. But he can't relax quite yet. Joel's assistant Tim has found some serious errors during the first full test.
12 frames could be if every clip goes the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, there also appears to be on some of the playlists actual clips missing.
Clips missing?
Well,
Somehow Christopher's miscalculated, so the 12 projector images don't match up properly, ruining the effect.
Jump on the outside screen is there. Jumps to this new sequence.
It jumps on the outside screens? As in all the edge screens?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
It's only a frame.
Oh, you mean a black frame?
Well, I think it jumps to the beginning of that
Clip.
clip.
As the staff begin preparing the restaurant for the evening opening, Christopher frantically tries to find out what the problem is and put it right.
Ah, wait a second. South Wall Central, there's a code missing. One down, about 100 to go. Relieved. I think it's not going to work. So I just realised that the bit which I was going to replace it with doesn't quite fit by a bit. So we're going to just go with plan B, which is instead of having different things going on in each wall, just having the same thing going on all around, because then it fits. Just for that sequence, not the whole thing. Yeah, it's not quite that bad. It's not going to change everything to... So Joel's just changing it now and setting it off to start at 7 o'clock.
It may be Christopher's plan B, but that certainly doesn't seem to bother the diners.
I like it. It's very relaxing, relaxing feel to it. It's a little bit like one big screensaver.
I think it's very restful.
That's just what I was going to say. Yeah.
Bits of it remind me of a William Morris wallpaper. It's sort of Victorian feeling. And then you get these funny little floating jellyfish that totally change that image.
I just think it's nice that it keeps changing. You know, you're not stuck with the same decor.